Where are we going?
Oh, hey!
Hi, everyone.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Gabe.
And we're the developers for Plexis. 2 years ago, we talked about making a game that we wanted to play.
We grew up with older brothers that played these old console games, especially like Nintendo games like Super Nintendo and the N64. And there were specifically these puzzle games back then. Mobile games have sort of taken over the puzzle market, and you don't really see as much like classic console puzzle games anymore. I mean, if anyone's played Tetris Attack or Pokemon Puzzle League or Meteos, Nintendo actually went for touch controls first, and they kind of proved that it worked. Because it turns out it's easier to swipe things on a touchscreen than it is to move like a cursor around with a D-pad. But our plans for Plexis do extend beyond mobile, because we do know there are people that, and even myself, that would still enjoy the classic experience of playing a puzzle game on a console with a D-pad.
But we'll get back to that in just a minute, because what we want to show you is the prototype of Plexis that we worked on for 2 whole years.
So Plexis is a match 3 game, but it's not your grandma's match 3 game. This is a tug-of-war style battle between your board and your enemy's board, with totally free movement. You can move blocks anywhere.
It's not about just paying attention to your board or anything like that. You're actually supposed to focus on both. You're supposed to be paying attention to it almost like a strategy game, almost like chess, and every move matters.
Where you're not just on your own playing by yourself, you're actively having to fend off attacks and make your own counterattacks.
And as Gabe was kind of saying, with this tug-of-war style, we had to implement something fresh and new, like characters that have unique abilities and have unique stats that influence an aggressive style or a defensive style, and there's really no way to play it wrong. It's just about how much experience you have and how well you know those characters.
And because of that, one of the most important things to have would be an online matchmaking style gameplay arena, so that you can play against other people online, that we track your stats and you earn rankings and things. A lot of the games that we played, like StarCraft and League of Legends, and these games where you really had to put the time in and, you know, refine your skill. And so that's all the multiplayer side of the game, which is a big component. But for people that want a more single player experience, we're also building this adventure mode. And that's where you can kind of play the game at your own pace, and it's split up into more of specific challenges and levels. It's all framed in this, you know, in an experience that's actually traveling through a fantasy world that we've built for the game.
We actually created an entire story for Plexis at the beginning of development and have never really got a chance to tell it. So adventure mode is also the first place where we
believe it or not,
story.
Plexis was an RPG at its inception, and has evolved, but has kept a lot of those elements. And we'll see, maybe we'll have the opportunity to revisit those things. So if you're not interested in a story kind of experience or multiplayer, there's also very streamlined modes that are a little more relaxed, like Endless, or you can practice against an AI. But no matter what mode you're playing, you're always earning Lumina, which is every block that you clear from the screen gets turned into this energy that's basically the currency of the world. Which
allows you to buy characters and portraits and all sorts of aesthetics to characterize your block skins and what you want your characters to look like. We felt like this was an important choice maker for people, so that they weren't forced into having this new character at this point in time, because maybe your preference is something more aggressive or defensive or something like that.
Yeah, and so you only have to invest as much time as you want to get the things that you care about, and you're not ever given things that you don't need.
Exactly.
Which is kind of nice. Yeah. So that's the game as it exists today, after about 2 years of working on it full time, as a proof of concept to you guys, but also to us, that we could, you know, finish something and get it out to the world for free. And that's currently on iOS only, on the App Store, so you can go try it out for yourself. But the reason why we're on Kickstarter is because the next big step is getting it on new platforms.
With the custom engine and the hand-drawn art, it's not as easy as copy-pasting Plexis and putting it on other platforms. We went with the custom engine because we tried some other third-party libraries and it just didn't work out the way that we wanted it to. The look and feel wasn't quite what we wanted. But we do have something that plays amazing and looks awesome on iOS, and we want to bring that to Android, the Switch, and possibly PC in the future.
So you might be wondering how the Switch and the mobile versions would be different, because obviously it's a totally new platform where we'd be moving away from a touchscreen device to something that actually has controllers. And the answer is yes, it will be totally different. Because, I mean, the greatest thing about the Switch is it comes with 2 controllers. So right off the bat, like local multiplayer with boards side by side is just like the natural progression of getting it back on a TV or on a handheld device. And so that means a full redesign of the UI, new game modes, an even more fleshed out, expanded adventure mode experience, where you're actually controlling a character and moving around a world map.
The most important part of the Switch version is the controls, no doubt, and making sure that they feel good and that the gameplay is at least as good as it is on mobile. Having local multiplayer, we've had ideas of how to work with 4 players at a time, so you'd have game modes that are more than just 1 versus 1. It's all just a much bigger, expanded version of the game.
The Switch is really where Super Plexis will be at home, because Nintendo was such a big inspiration in the beginning. And recently, I mean, with the Switch, it's a much more indie dev friendly platform to develop for. So it actually is possible for, you know, solo or small teams to bring their games to the platform.
We're seeing loads of indie devs putting their games on the Switch, and so no matter what happens, we're gonna get the game on Android and Switch, but it might take a while because this kind of thing takes a lot of time, and to be able to work on this game full time has shown that we can create something that's good and that we enjoy playing, that the community enjoys to play, and we want to continue doing that. So with your help, we can make this happen a lot faster and much better.
Yeah, thank you.